Da-ba-da-ba.
Choose your character.
Great choice, Dollface.
Uh...
Prepare yourselves.
Meet my friend, Mr. Hammer. And stay down.
Read. Read.
Ow, that friggin' hurts, you know?
Did someone say Scooby Snaps?
Read.
Match point. Red team.
Friggin' baby, you know? Like a girl. Gotcha! Hope you like it. Gotcha!
Defeat.
Dang. You lost.
I'm gonna feed
How have you been in... Will, how are you doing?
Play again.
Dang. My teammate denied.
Choose your character.
Charmed, I'm sure.
I'm doing okay. It's hot as fucking hell, but doing okay otherwise. I'm getting some like baby people.
Prepare yourselves!
I'm warning you. I don't have an easy mode. Watch out!
Watch out for what? Your death?
I think I'm getting even stronger.
Careful. Here we go. Got me good. Let's go.
Dang.
Match point! Red team!
Ow, that friggin' hurts, you know?
You're too slow.
You're too slow! I actually died.
Objection! Hey, Stinky!
Wanna see a magic trick? Good.
What the fuck are you...
Abracadabra.
Retro, you killed me! What the fuck?
Like, are you a sad clown now?
I don't
Rematch.
use down smash. Cringe ass.
Let's go!
Let me quickly hydrate and stretch.
Choose your character.
I'll teach you a fucking skill issue. Also, no fucking way,
Judge a
what?
book by its cover. I went to med school, you know.
Why is that no way? You're a nerd. You wanna judge someone but the games they play, judge them off. No, don't say hi to Retro, he's stinky.
Prepare yourselves!
Don't worry. I'll, like, go easy on you.
this?
The way!
Free!
No mystery here. That hurt.
Oh my god, that was actually a good combo. Free!
Ow, that friggin' hurts, you know?
Hey, that's not funny.
It's very funny. Excuse the fuck out of you.
Match point. Red team.
Now I need a sandwich. Hold still.
That looked like it hurt.
Not today. Got him.
Free! We were actually so close. I'm not winning.
Clown time is over.
I don't wanna be with them.
Choose your character.
Charmed, I'm sure.
I'll probably just play an hour of this. And then probably move to
Choose your character.
Ace Attorney, since it's been a while since I played this.
Fun. I'm gonna kick your teeth in.
I've been playing for a short bit, for the last couple of days, well. I mean, do you like the game?
Prepare yourself.
I think it's weird getting used to the controls because I'm so used to Smash Bros. But
This hammer ain't just for show, Toots.
is this person AFK? No. That was close.
Aw, you dingwad.
I'm afraid you've requested my full fury now.
You gotta screw loose, pal. That looked like it hurt.
Three.
Not cool.
Do a kick flip. Like that only happened because I'm so famished. Match point. Blue team. Holy barf. I hated that. Victory! Are we quarreling or not?
That's fair.
I'm more proud of my doctorate, but this is good too.
Continue? Okay!
I've always played Smash Bros. Though, so like,
Choose your
I very much like the game series.
I'm cute. I'm fun. I'm gonna kick your teeth in.
The only Smash Bros. Game that I've never played was Brawl and the Switch game.
Prepare yourselves!
Ew, put your tongue away. Heads up, dude.
Leave me alone. Fuck.
Yeah, baby, you hit like a girl. That hurt. Good.
Don't swallow gum.
Somebody call a doctor.
That guy loves using Sideswipe.
I said good day! That's stretched up! Match point!
Three.
Red team!
Yeah, baby, you hit like a girl.
Judo chop, man! This cookie coming up! Look at this sodium!
Stop spinning so I can kick your butt.
Like that!
fuck?
Match point. Blue team. Like that only happened because I'm so.
Dang, we lost. Also, hi hun, how are you doing?
I'm gonna take a day-long nap.
Rematch?
Well, because everyone else is requesting a match, I shall do one. But I'll probably switch to singles after this.
Choose your character.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Just you wait and see.
And that's good that you're doing good. Blue, you're cringe. How are you doing, though? That's good that you're doing good. I'm giving this game a try because I actually got it, I got it from being idle in someone's stream, and they were giving out drops, I guess.
Prepare yourself.
So I figured I like Smash Bros. I'd probably give this game a try. And I will also hydrate.
Tough guy, huh? Not as tough as me, because I'm real tough.
Oh.
Look out below!
Dang, I actually was nay-naying that Shaggy for a minute.
Do a kickflip!
Stay down.
Stand and fight.
Oof! Right in the breadbasket.
Match point. Blue team.
Did anyone get the number of that trolley?
Watch that!
Like stand and fight.
Okay, we...
Not cool.
Ah!
Victory.
That was actually funny.
I'm more
That
fun
was
than I
actually
thought.
hilarious.
That's good too.
I think I'm gonna stick with this. This team. Wait, what does that do?
Choose your character.
Release ground and air side special also become dodges.
Choose your
Dang.
character.
I guess the other person didn't want to continue playing after all.
Oh, this is gonna be fun. Just you wait and see.
So I've noticed that you can actually charge air smash attacks too. Well, air attacks. Which is cool. Wait, which one is mine? The perks are confusing though.
Prepare yourself.
Taking into consideration there's no ranked mode in this game, I guess it kind of fits, because it's, from what I can tell, all casual.
Is that really what you wear to fight?
Look out below! Moving in! Heads up, dude!
Oh, that was nasty beans, dude.
Get ready for a speeding kicking!
Match point. Blue team.
That's you!
I love the roasts in the middle of matches. That's funny.
Okay, who's the creep that did that?
And we probably lost.
Victory.
Oh, we actually won. Okay.
That's another one for Harley.
Yeah, the matches go really quick, and you can be punished simply for spawning in, because unlike Smash Bros, there's no invincible stage or period when you
Choose your
come back from
character.
death. So if the enemy can take a decent guess as to where you're going to actually spawn, they can punish you for absolutely no reason. And that is kinda cringe, but it is kind of in beta that I know of. In the air, I'm kind of an air fighter.
Prepare yourselves!
Ain't nobody does it like I do.
Spin, 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 spin! Has learned from past mistakes. Or not! Has coming! Ugh, sorry.
Whoa! That's not cool.
Can't stop this, dog.
Match point. Blue team. You may pass by tongue. Ouchie.
No!
Match point. Red
Okay,
team.
we're still in the match.
Friggin' hurts, you know?
Or not.
Defeat.
I have not seen Velma gameplay.
Wait till I tell PP about this. She's gonna flip her bit.
On second thought, I've seen a couple of meme videos of
Let's go!
some of her moves. Like the fact that she can trap the Iron Giant in a police car.
Choose your character.
I'm actually gonna switch things up and play Shaggy.
Who? Me? Well, okay.
And hydrate because it's hot as hell. It's cute, yeah. It's cool to see how the characters would interact with each other in a more friendly environment, because some characters, like Batman, are actually humorous rather than serious by nature.
Prepare yourself!
I also love the fact that Ultra Instinct Shaggy is like canon now.
Look at all those gadgets, man! Like, super cool!
Stop spinning so I can kick your butt. I'm coming.
Okay, that was a nice spike.
Match point! Blue team!
Literally Tasmania anyway. I'm coming.
Get ready to eat my sword!
I'm coming. Spin, 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 spin.
Match point! Red team!
That's stretched up.
Victory!
Okay, that was a decent match.
Man, with these powers, like, I'm unstoppable!
I definitely haven't played Smash Bros. In a hot minute, so I have to get used to the reaction times.
Choose your character!
I think because I prefer trapping,
your
well,
character.
actually, since my ally left, I'll switch to single matches.
Charmed, I'm sure.
Okay. This isn't gonna go bad. A level 10 Harley versus a level 15 Harley.
Prepare yourself!
You won't be able to tie your own shoes when I'm done with you.
point. Blue team.
Not cool. Somebody call a doctor!
Let me go, please.
That's a good one! Bam!
Match point. Red team.
Ow, that friggin' hurts, you know? Somebody call a doctor!
Victory.
You got a screw loose, pal.
Okay, that went well.
See? Told ya, hun.
Play again? Okay!
That was actually kind of funny.
Choose your character.
Straight out of Arkham!
Prepare yourself.
And we're going with a clone match again.
My roommate thinks I have anger issues. Let's see what you think. Gotcha, nerds! So wait! Wham!
Oh,
Match
jeez.
point. Red
That was
team.
actually good.
Coming for you now. That looked like it hurt.
Match point. Blue team.
Not cool.
This seems like a big trap. Or not.
Victory!
See? Told ya, hun.
Oh boy. That was actually very rough.
Choose your character.
Send in the clowns, hot stuff.
Prepare yourselves.
Okay, so Shaggy's mainly an attacker, so I just have to try to play smart and trap them.
Wow, these guys look pretty fierce.
Proceeds to not play smart. Yeah.
Point. Red team.
Yeah, baby, you hit like a girl. Somebody call a doctor. These clowns are getting hit.
I played into that.
Being powerful's pretty awesome. Like, are you a sad clown now?
Let's go.
It's fine.
Choose your character.
Great choice, Dollface.
Prepare yourselves.
Hope your head is harder than my hammer. Here's the wind-up.
What?
Match point.
What happened right there?
Coming for you now.
Come on, Smash Bros. Etiquette is you gotta give it life in order to even out the jank of the game. They teleported. What the fuck? No, 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 no. Okay.
Defeat.
I don't know what happened with that game, but okay.
You guys could never beat these powers.
Choose your character.
I think I'll call it for this. Not Super Smash Bros. Right there. And because it's actually been a while, yeah, the art style is okay-ish. And it's fine. Wait. I can skip to certain cutscenes? Oh, I don't want to do that.
It was a ghastly tale of a winter's night. One of an invisible killer and a crime perpetrated on the pavement along Briar Road. As the victim lay at death's door, the mystery of just who had stabbed the young lady from behind had been resolved. But no sooner had my friend saved that Eastern exchange student from his harrowing plight, then in the dim, flickering shadows of gaslight did a second bizarre crime rend the stillness of that very night. I dare say most can still recall the sensational headlines of the day. Haunted apartment of death, the condemned criminal's curse, the dread demon of coal gas. Yet, though the great detective had at once discerned the truth upon his arrival at the scene, it only proved to be the overture that announced the rising of the curtain on a most tragic play.
My name is Rinosuke Naruhodo. I'm a fledgling lawyer just starting out on my journey. 6 months ago, I arrived as a visiting student of law. Having made the long voyage across the sea from the Empire of Japan to here, London, England. And on the way, in quite extraordinary circumstances, I made the acquaintance of a world-famous detective. Currently, I reside in the attic of the Detective Zone Watchings, from where I run my legal consultancy of sorts. I've successfully defended a number of clients in Britain's highest court, the Old Bailey. But since a particular grueling and unforgettable legal battle 4 months ago now, I haven't returned to the courtroom. In truth, I lost my right to return. But that epic trial was just one small part of an epic tale, a tale which was now about to awaken from slumber, thanks to a letter that arrived this morning from my homeland. What a delicious smell wafting up the stairs. It must be nearly time for breakfast. I better go down to Mr. Sholm's suite and say good morning to the great detective and his flatmate. Ah, Runo, good. I was just about to call up to you. The bacon's ready. Good morning, Iris. It smells delicious as usual. Before we eat, though, I have some news. Not another word, Mr. Naruhodo. This could be just the abstruse thing for my pre-breakfast stagnation-repelling mental stimulation, my dear fellow. Morning to you too, Mr. Sholmes. Ah yes, I see. So that's it. Truth is as clear to me as day. My faculties of observation have revealed it again. What are you talking about? You, Mr. Naruhodo, you have this very morning met with a surprise. Well, is that not the case? Really, my dear fellow, it barely warrants explanation. Firstly, your hair is particularly unkempt, somewhat reminiscent of a bird's nest. Secondly, you have neglected to fasten the third button of your jacket. Clearly, when considered together, these two facts point to you having been flustered this morning. But of course, though I don't look for admiration, you understand. My hair always looks like this. It's been this way since I first met you. Oh, it has? And the button was ripped off last night, if you remember. By you. Harley pulled your button off? Ah yes, I recall the incident now. It was after supper, was it not? As the evening advanced, I picked up my violin and began to play the wailing notes of a haunting tune. But then, to my utter dismay, the third string snapped. Why did it have to happen? Why? Little wonder then, that to my vexation, I grabbed the first button I saw and ripped it from its proper place. I actually ate right before stream. Well, I'd like it back now, please. It's troubling me that I can't fasten my jacket. Also... It's troubling me that you expect me to know where it is. Somewhere thereabouts on the floor, one presumes. helpful. What matters at the present time, my dear fellow, is simply whether or not my deduction was unerring. But Hurley, Runo said it when he came in, didn't he? I had a surprise this morning. Well, that really is a surprise. Yes, this man is the pride of the British Empire, the famous consulting detective, Mr. Sherlock Sholmes. There can't be a single person in the world who doesn't know his name. Yet there were many people who didn't know his name in the last game. Alright then, enough of this silly conversation. Come and eat this bacon before it goes cold. And I have a new herbal tea for you to try too, my latest special blend. And here we have Iris Wilson, Mr. Sholmes' lodger and companion. A truly exceptional young girl who's the author of a highly successful serialization here in London. Yes, The Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, as published in Randst magazine. So, Mr. Naruhodo, why don't you put us out of our misery? What surprised you this fine morning? Ah, well, I received a letter from Japan. From Susie, you mean? Was it, really? That's right. And she had some rather startling news, in fact. Ah, intriguing indeed. You must tell us all about it over breakfast. Oh yes, what fun. I look forward to finding out what aroma your tea will have, Iris, every single day. Ah well, I infuse a different concoction of herbs from the garden every time, so it's never the same twice. When you call it a concoction, it sounds more like a science experiment than something for tea time. Oh yes, that's because different blends can have very different properties. Some calm you down, some make you feel jolly, some give you energy. Today's particular blend is something quite special, so you're really in for a treat. That sounds ominous. This is a letter that arrived from Japan this morning, by international post. Oh, how lovely. Look at Susie's beautiful writing. I wish I could read it. And how is your judicial assistant, Baron, may I ask? She's very well, thank you. In fact, according to what she's written, she actually appeared as a lawyer at the Japanese Supreme Court and won a case. Really? Isn't she wonderful? A cut above your good self, my dear fellow. I've won cases too, you know. Apparently Mr. Natsume appeared in the trial as a witness. Natsume. No, I don't recall that name. Of course you do, we helped the man twice. You know, in those two cases that took place in Briar Road 6 months ago? Ah, the mustached, twitchy man with the somewhat feline eyes and the mustache. He didn't have two mustaches, Harley. Really? Yes, who could forget those two cases? They made a very deep impression on me. Although I must confess the details are a little hazy now. A very deep impression they made on you, clearly. So what was the startling news penned by Miss Susato? Do you remember the case of the haunted lodgings, Mr. Sholmes? Oh yes, it's very interesting, you know. I don't feel entirely uncertain that a case of that nature did not occur. He's totally forgotten then. Anyway, in her letter, Miss Susato asked that we read over her case notes again and investigate further. Though it took place half a year ago, for what purpose? Because of something that Mr. Natsume has said to her, apparently. He suggested that the real reason why she was called back to Japan so suddenly might have something to do with that case of the haunted lodgings. So, on Mr. Natsume's return to Japan, Miss Susato's father questioned him about the case, she says. And something Mr. Natsume said appeared to trouble Professor Mikotoba, prompting him to send that telegram. That case? Yes. It was very strange, wasn't it? Yes. And I had compiled the whole story into a nice, neat manuscript ready for publication, too. But then Hurley here was all funny about it, remember? He was very mean. That story must not be published, you said, very mysteriously as well. Really? I said that? Are you sure? Do you perhaps know something about it as well, Mr. Sholmes? About why Miss Susato was suddenly told 4 months ago that she had to return to Japan? That's a typo, though. That says mouths. It's been 4 months now since we waved Susie off at Dover. I'm being bullied. Hello though, Jaden. How are you doing? I'm stretching. Also, I don't have a snack, so no snack. Again. Also, give me 1 moment. Okay, I return. Wait. Okay. It was such a shock, wasn't it? The way she just suddenly announced that she had to go back to Japan. Indeed it was, due to a telegram she received from her homeland, I believe. That's right, telling her to return urgently. Yes, because her father had passed away. No. It was just that he was suffering from a high fever, the cause of which was unknown. He's not dead. But according to this letter, that news about her father's fever was just a ruse. A ruse? So Susie lied to her so that she'd make the voyage back home? Why would he do that? I have to admit, I have absolutely no idea. But she believes it's almost certainly related to the case of the haunted lodgings. Summoning her back to Japan so suddenly like that. I wonder what Miss Susato's father is hiding. Really? Do you know what it's all about? Ah, well, who can say? What? But you said... Please, I am engaged in this, my dear fellow. My calendar is quite surprisingly full today. And a stringent analysis of the matter would be excessive, I feel, even if I were quite at leisure. So, man the fort in my absence, won't you, Iris? I will, really. Don't worry. See you later. He scrolled off rather quickly there. I think perhaps Professor Mikotoba isn't the only person hiding something here. Sosuke-san was involved in 2 cases, but only one of them was forbidden from being published. By, of all people, Mr. Sholmes. I found them at last. Iris, are they... The notes about the case? That's right. Susie and I compiled them together. The case of the haunted lodgings. Do you want to read them, Runo? Absolutely. Thank you, Iris. I have no idea what secrets could still be hiding in the shadows of this case. But perhaps if I read over the notes again, something might come to light. This music's good. That's the spirit. And so, Iris and I decided to read over the case notes again together. Everything from what happened to our investigation in that fierce battle in court that followed. Reliving every detail, I just need to find a clue, and I have all the time in the world. Because, of course, I'm no longer allowed to practice law in the courts of Great Britain. At all? Question mark? It was 6 months ago, a mysterious incident that unfolded on the wintry streets of London. A young woman was found lying on the snowy pavement of Friar Road with a knife in her back. Fortunately, her life was spared, but she was unconscious for several days following the incident. The fog was thick, and nobody saw her attack her, but... Green? Yeah. The second case of the second game. By a cruel twist of fate, a visiting Japanese student was walking behind her at the time and was duly arrested. That man was Sosuke-san, and the man who effected his arrest was Mr. Sholmes. Believing in our compatriot's innocence, Susato-san and I decided to represent Sosuke-san in court. And after a grueling trial of many twists and turns, we finally managed to prove his innocence. Joyous, joyful, jubilant jubilation was the man's reaction after the trial, but his jubilant jubilation was short-lived. We received a telegram from Mr. Sholmes the following morning. Yeah, it's the start of the case. The victim of the Briar Road stabbing has regained consciousness. Word departs at once. So Susato-san and I summoned a hansom and headed immediately to the hospital. How are you doing though, Lord Luck Pluck? There's a rat! There you are at last. Good morning, Mr. Sholmes. That's good to hear. I think not. Oh, we're going through a flashback. You're late. What on earth took you so long? Your telegram only arrived at 5 o'clock, Mr. Sholmes, and it's a 20-minute ride to the hospital. That's right, and it's 5:30 now. I think we made very good time. The time is utterly irrelevant. The fact is, I've been waiting for what has felt like an eternity. Oh, it's a flashback case? Oh. I didn't know it was going to be a flashback case. I thought we were only going through a flashback for a small period of time. In point of fact, I myself was awoken at 4 this morning by a telegram boy. In feeling it was somewhat unjust that I alone had been roused at such an hour, I sent one to you. Well, thanks for that. Anyway, you're here now, so the victim is over there. She's only just regained consciousness. You should introduce yourselves, and I shall observe from here. So that's the lady who was found on the snow-covered pavement with a knife in her back. Her name is... ah yes, here we are. Miss Green. Oh, that's why you said green. That's why you said green. My day is okay, Astra. How are you? Good morning. Hello, I'm, Yunosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan. Oh no, was it your knife that? Are you the man who... Wait. No, I'm a lawyer. And I'm Susato Mikatoba, pleased to meet you. Oh no, was it your knife then? Are you the one? No, I assure you, I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. We heard that you'd regained consciousness and wanted to come to give you our best wishes. Best wishes from me? Thank you. I'm Olive Green. I'm an artist. Well, no, that's not right, is it? What I mean is, I'm trying to be an artist. That's a mood. Well, what I really mean is, I desperately want to be an artist. But the truth is, I don't have any talent. I know I don't. It's no wonder I was stabbed in the back. I don't think that's related, actually. Gosh, this young woman seems to bend over backwards to put herself down. Seeing as we're here, we should ask her about what happened from her perspective, I suppose. To suddenly be struck in the back by a blade as you were walking along the pavement. What a terrible experience you had, Miss Green. It was so cold that day, and the fog was so thick, I couldn't see a thing. That was 4 days ago now, I think. Is that right? Yes, that's right. I'm afraid you've been comatose all that time. But the case has been solved, hasn't it? Well, I've been in here in the hospital, I mean? Indeed it has, my dear madam. Spectacularly by none other than I, Erlach Sholmes. Aha! Sure. You did all the work. Mr. Sholmes, as you well know, it was Mr. Naruhodo's hard work in court that solved the case. Yeah, I'm kinda seeing that. Are you yet to hear what happened, Miss Green? Yes, I'm afraid so. A gentleman from the police force is supposed to be coming to fill me in shortly. Oh, I see. Me coming around seems to have made everyone frantically busy. I'm so sorry. I should never have regained consciousness. It was selfish of me. That's not your fault. We're also relieved that you're on the mend, Miss Green. Really, we are. With that kind of attitude, maybe her surname should be Blue, not Green. Oh my god, this game and its jokes. So you're an artist, are you, Miss Green? Oh no, I couldn't possibly claim that. I'm a fledgling artist at best. Mood. I mean, I'm a student of art, really, at the Thorndike Academy of Fine Arts. Oh my, an Academy of Fine Arts. Great Britain is such a wonderful country. Tell me, Miss Green, do you live hereabouts? Oh no, actually... I don't deserve it, but I have a little flat on Brixton Road. I see. How very interesting. Oh no, is it? Brixton is some 10 stops away on the underground from here. And Thorndike Academy is a mere 3-minute walk from Brixton town center. Does that matter, Mr. Sholmes? Perhaps not, but Briar Road is a far less salubrious part of town by comparison, dwelt in by those of inferior means, including the maleficent Mr. Mustache. Inferior means? I suppose Soseki-san does fit the bill. It struck me as somewhat out of the ordinary for a young fine arts student to be walking in such a district. That's all. What's this? She suddenly clammed up. Mr. Sholmes, you should be afraid of yourself prying into a young maiden's private affairs. Oh dear me, do forgive me. I mean, if I had to take a guess, she does not gain confidence. If you don't mind. I'm being discharged shortly, so I need to pack up my things. Oh yes, of course. We won't keep you. Thank you so much, Miss Green. Iris? That's incredible concentration, that is. I find it quite remarkable how she can focus on so many different things at once. Perhaps I should try drinking more herbal tea. The blend third from the right would be good for you, Runa. Iris? This girl is destined for great things, I'm sure. Alright, so where am I supposed to go? Dang. Look at all these mementos of Mr. Shoma's past cases. You know, Miss Usato's eyes still sparkle every time she lays eyes on them. But yours don't, do they, Reno? Well, I have read The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes now, by order of Miss Usato. But the trouble is, I haven't seen the real thing in action. Some other stories don't quite ring true for me. Well, he does solve the cases in the end. I suppose so. Perhaps there's more to the great detective than meets the eye. It always strikes me how pretty and neatly arranged this tea set is. It's my favorite one. In fact, I think it's high time for afternoon tea. Wait there, I'll fetch the special blend that I've prepared for it today. Oh, Iris, you do love your tea, don't you? She looks so happy at that prospect. And after you've drunk it, I'll collect some experimental data if that's alright. Just what is she about to make me drink? That's a charming little white shelf, and full of charming little bottles, too. Oh yes, but don't touch any of those. They might explode. A charming shelf full of charming bottles full of charring ingredients. You know, Hurley mistakenly drank from one of them the other day. What? And how? I think he was lucky though. He hasn't exploded yet. Chemistry can be a very hazardous occupation. It's living with Mr. Shom that's the hazardous occupation if you ask me. Accurate. Very accurate. Re-hydrate. I don't have a snack. I Oh yes, this is where you note down ideas, isn't it, Iris? So, what's on the blackboard today? Look up, Bruno. What is this? Oh, I'm just playing around with ideas for the title of next month's installment. Another idea I had was the barrel coronet. I'm really torn about which one to use. What do you think, Bruno? I am not a snack. Re. Anything but buck up, Bruno, obviously. I suppose you're right. I tell you what, I'll surprise you with it. We'll have to wait until next month and see. So many sleepless nights. If I've remembered correctly, this large and imposing lump of iron is called a typewriter. Do you think that every single one of the adventures of Erlach Holmes blossomed from this very machine? Ree, I am not delicious. It's such a dreamy thought. I actually had to go on it the other day. The metal bars that move when you hit the keys got all tangled up somehow, and that made Iris angry. Mr. Naruhodo, you're ruining my dreamy thoughts. Please don't do that again. Now I've made Susato-san angry as well. Ree! I do like this fireplace. It's one of the best things I've seen since we arrived in the country, in fact. Although I do yearn for a Japanese kotatsu. Putting your legs under a warm, blanketed table is so comforting. Do be careful, Mr. Naruhodo. Don't mistakenly put your feet into the fire, will you? You'd suffer terrible burns, you know. I am not! Ree, shut up! Astra, shut up, Astra! Not Raven. Ree! I worry sometimes about how Susato-san sees me. Ah! I'm not... Kuma! I'm not drawing! Those are for art streams! Ree! I am not cute. I want the points back. Okay, okay, okay. Well, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. What does that redeem? Give me a minute. Channel points. Pokemon Doodle. 4 art streams. Tell me what Pokemon you'd like me to doodle within a few minutes. Kuma, that's your fault for not reading. Oh my god. How do I redeem or refund points again? No! I'm refunding. I have to remember how to go there. Yes! I'm refunding points. You can't stop me. I genuinely forget how to refund points. No, I'm not drawing. I'm refunding your point. I just have to remember how to do it. It's been so long since I've actually done that. How do I do it? I feel stupid. Stream summary? No. Activity? No. What the fuck? How do I... How do I refund? Unfortunately for you, Kuma, review the requests queue. Unfortunately for you, Kuma, I'm stubborn as fuck. There's your points back. I cannot be stopped. Yes? Let the gremlin scream. Technically they can't, because it's under a cooldown. It's curious how this enormous metal chest is being used as a coffee table. And even more curious to think that Iris's father's notes about Mr. Shoma's cases are inside it. Oh my... So keep my redeem window open. Got it. I'm stubborn, Kuma. You mustn't look in the Runo. Those notes are a secret between Daddy and me. And Mr. Solmus isn't somehow in on the secret. He really tends to forget, you see, as soon as he's solved a case, in fact. Once when he read one of my manuscripts, we had a terrible argument about it. No, you can't, because there's a cooldown. And there's a limit to how many times it can be redeemed in a stream. Never have I solved such a case, he said. He was absolutely adamant. Sometimes I wonder if he's from another planet, don't you? There's all sorts on these shelves. Chemistry apparatus, books, papers, and lots of things I've never seen before. It's all heaped up so high I can't help feeling that the whole lot is going to topple at any moment. It looks as though it might topple, and yet it doesn't. The epitome of Mr. Shoma's brilliance. There's a limit to how many times it can be redeemed in one stream. You guys are not getting it. I don't get it. As it happens, I'm quite well practiced when it comes to stacking shelves myself. Just the other day, the shelf in my office finally gave way under the strain, though. It looks as though I might topple, and it does. Yes, the epitome of your disarray. No, you... my god. I really don't get it. That's not how it works, Astra. This is Mr. Shulman's famous violin. The one he found being sold for a song at a pawnbrokery. What's it called again? A shoddy something? Oh yes, this wonderful instrument features in the adventures of Erlock Sholmes. It's a world-famous Stradivarius. 100 hydrates for it. Why do you want to annoy me? Reed! I'm gonna tell Vex. Strata what? Stradivarius, Mr. Naruhodo. Stragaver... Are you even trying now? We'll come back to this another time, I think. You always think I'm cute. This enormous machine takes up the entire desk, doesn't it? It's really very imposing. I am not cute, Astra. You do not have permission to say that. Curly's great analytoscope, yes. It can analyze anything at all, you know. But I've never seen anyone actually use it. Well, it's his invention, so I don't know how to operate it. Why don't you get it to analyze its own operation, then? Oh, Bruno, you're razor sharp today, aren't you? I've analyzed all of her room. What am I supposed to do? Unless... You need to investigate her room. Kitty is supposed to always be... Really? This rounded wooden figure isn't the most charming, is it? Ah, I don't think that's a decoration, Mr. Naruhodo. It's an artist's mannequin, I believe, used when practicing sketching the human form in different poses. Really? It's not exactly what you'd call a typical figure for that purpose, though, is it? No, I suppose not. I confess I've never seen one quite so full-figured before. Well, if you want to draw a full-figured person, it's the right tool for the job. I don't know. I've used one before. A plastic figure. And... it feels weird to work with. Look, there's a photograph in this frame here. Oh yes, it's a picture of a young gentleman. He looks to be about the same age as Miss Green, I would say. Perhaps the young woman's special someone, do you think? Am I, Mr. Naruhodo? I didn't know you had a sense for matters of the heart. Not in the least. I sincerely said the first thing I thought of. Oh? Is there a Mr. Narrow Fodder here? Mr. Narrow Fodder? Narrow Fodder now? Well, if you're looking for Naruhodo, the lawyer, that's me, but... Mr. Narrow Fodder, good. This is for you. It's a message from a saucy nutsmake. Mr. Natsume sent a message to me. But why would a policeman be delivering a message from Mr. Natsume? Exactly. What's going on? What's a Scotland Yard constable doing playing delivery boy at this time in the morning? What are you waiting for? Let me see that. Well, this is most unexpected. Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes? Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes, he says. Have you not seen this note? No, how could I have? It seemed that London's criminals have no intention of letting the great detective rest. A new case calls, a case of murder no less. We must depart at once. Murder? Call a cab, time is of the essence. But the trouble is, we've yet to read Mr. Natsume's note. I was thinking we ought to pay him a visit.
Hey, Stinky!
We've yet to read Mr. Natsume's note. I was thinking we ought to pay him a visit in his lodgings once we did. That would be entirely convenient. Convenient? What do you mean? It's all here in the note, my dear fellows. The murder we must investigate took place at Mr. Mustache's lodgings. Wait, what? I'll hail a fiacre at once. Hey there, Black. How are you doing? It was only yesterday that Sasuke-san was in court and we were dispelling doubts about his innocence. And now the very next day, there's a murder at the man's own address. He may very well be the unluckiest man alive. Or so it seemed to us at the time, but we were soon to discover it was worse than we thought. What on earth? I remember him. Oh my, the gentleman is deceased without question. He's dead. Locum student Mr. Naruto Esquire. Mr. Natsume. Why? Why is this happening? Why to me? I've only just got out of court yesterday. I was finally home after 2 days of misery. And then I wake up the next day to this. No early bird should catch a worm like this. Woeful worm without wiggle. I see you're in high spirits again this morning, Mr. Mustache. Not the horrible Sherlock Sholmes. Shoo, shove off. Show yourself the door. I never invited you. Mr. Sholmes came here with us. I'm quite sure he'll be able to help you, Mr. Natsume. I am entirely at your disposal, Mr. Mustache. What can I do for you? Here they are already, the busybodies. Ah, Inspector Gregson. What a pleasant surprise. Pleasant, is it? Gives me heartburn every time I see your face at a crime scene, Sholmes. I deduce, Inspector, that your heartburn is a result of your excessive consumption of fried food. Good morning, Inspector. This is a crime scene. Don't you go touching anything. Or good morning to you too, Sunshine. Oh yeah, I said hands off. You're gonna mess up my crime scene. No, I just wanted to look, that's all. No chance. I know you're kind. You'll mess it up just by looking at it. Someone's in a bad mood. There's certainly some bad air in here, isn't there? Alright, it sounds like I'd better talk to the inspector first and try to curry some favor. Listen here, bitch ass. So, Inspector, what was the victim's name? Who was he? Mr. William Shamspear. He was a lodger here. As you can probably tell, he was an actor. A bit of a dead loss as it happens, or just dead. Mr. Shamspear? It was the landlord, old Mr. Garadeb, and the other lodger, Mr. Natsume, who found him. I mean... there's a reason this game wasn't published in English as soon as it was. Sherlock Holmes... William Shamspear, or William Shakespeare. This is basically Sherlock Holmes and William Shakespeare, but copyright edition. Can I also look at that? What a clown. It was the landlord, old Mr. Garadeb, and the other lodger, Mr. Natsume, who found him. The fella didn't rise at his usual hour, so Garadeb got worried and kicked the door down. But doesn't Mr. Garadeb have a bad leg? Ah yeah, you're right there. It was that jittery Japanese hunchback over there who actually did the kicking. Really? Sasuke-san? The victim was pretty hard up, it seems. Even done some time inside for petty crimes. He had no money, no place to go, and no friends. His only acquaintances were the people in this house. Miserable life, and a miserable end to it. So what exactly is Mr. Natsume still doing? He's not involved in the investigation, so shouldn't you have sent him away from the crime scene? Well, I'm not saying it's because the fellow looks odd or anything, or that he looks suspicious. But I thought it would be prudent to take a statement from the cohabiter. You nearly said culprit there, didn't you? Oh dear, Mr. Natsume appears to be under suspicion again. It certainly seems that way. He does just come across as such an odd fellow, doesn't he? So... this makes sense, because at the end of the first game, people were saying that he was involved in 2 suspicious cases. Not 1. which is what we've experienced so far. This is the second case he was involved in. Poor man, how unfortunate. Anyway, I can't say much until the coroner gets here. But I don't think the fellow's been a gunner that long. The body's still warm. Even if the inspector would allow it, I don't think I could bring myself to touch a dead body. What a terrible thing to have happened. It's only been 3 days since I was arrested for the incident on the pavement outside. And then having finally regained my freedom starts happening all over again. Endless existence of excruciating experiences. So the victim lived here on the ground in your room is just one story up, is it? Yes, that's right. In a way we were neighbors, I suppose. So did you know the victim? Were you friends? Yeah? Tell us all about it. What's the matter with Suzuki-san now? It was an innocent enough question, wasn't it? Why does he seem so shaken by it? Well, I suppose he wasn't a complete stranger. But did he ever invite me to his room? Never. On my honor, I swear it. What an extreme reaction. You're probably wishing you'd never asked now, aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo? When we found him here, I felt wretched, which is why I sent word asking you to come. Through that inspector over there. Are you good, sir? Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? You need only observe to know it, my dear fellow. Investigating, really. Naturally. There's nothing natural about that pose. Mr. Sholmes, have you made some miraculous discovery? Re-hydrate, even though I literally just drank a minute ago. I don't care. Wow, okay. Sassy. Patience, my dear madam, patience. We've not been here in this room 5 minutes. So far, all I've managed to deduce is what actually happened. My goodness. But isn't that everything we need to know, Mr. Sholmes? Now that you proposed the idea, I believe one could indeed see it that way. At the present time, I have managed to draw two incontrovertible conclusions. The first, that there was a physical struggle here last night in which the victim fought for his life. Mr. Natsume, what's wrong? Is something that Mr. Sholmes said significant somehow? No, don't mind me. Forget I was here. And my second conclusion is that there was a poison lingering in the air here last night that passed the victim's lips. Nonsense. Alright, Mr. Natsume, why are you reacting so extremely to Mr. Sholmes' deductions? No, please, pretend I'm not here. Hard to pretend you're not here when you react in that way to what Mr. Sholmes is deducing. Invisible, ineffable, inscrutable, insignificant. Impossible to ignore. You must tell us everything, Mr. Sholmes. Spare no detail. But of course. Let the theatrical tragedy before us be unraveled by my great deductions presented for your pleasure in 2 acts. Please don't tell me... We've heard some truly astounding great deductions from Mr. Sholmes in the past. No doubt this will be no exception. What miracles will unfold before our eyes this time? So, my dear fellows, for your delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. For Sherlock Sholmes' logic and reasoning spectacular, Act 1. Please, no. I did not care for this in the first game. Careful observation of the victim reveals to us the events that transpired in this disconsolate room last night. Foam at the mouth of the deceased clearly indicates the use of poison. Next to the victim, we notice a large dining plate, which contains, you will observe, 1/2 of a sizable bar of soap. Meaningful? Indubitably. Why is this soap yet so purposefully upon the set so purposefully upon the dish? Like the victim's last supper, in fact, yes? Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course, the fork reveals the answer. It appears that the young man's appetite was his undoing. Taking up arms in the form of his cutlery, the victim engaged in a deadly battle for his life. Yet the struggle against his hunger was in vain, for in the end he couldn't resist devouring the slippery feast. I highly doubt that. Rolandon's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the contents of the plate. The soap and the lather about the young man's mouth are too perfectly matched to ignore. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to excessive ingestion of foul soap. Though personally, I have a greater interest in the taste of foul candle wax, of course. What a joke. The cause of death identified, we'll proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. Was it suicide or murder? The audience will recall that death occurred during the victim's last supper. Did the man dine and die alone? A single teacup suggests the answer. To draw a conclusion on such meager evidence would be foolish, however, certainly. The careful criminal could have absconded with his own cup to cover his tracks. Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is a broken lock. Though forced open now, at the time of the incident, the door was locked. And the soul key was in the victim's pocket. In other words, when the victim consumed the poison, he must have been alone. Alone with his inferior soap, from whence wafted an inferior scent. And with that acrid aroma lingering in the air, the victim met his end in tragic solitude. Debatably, very debatably, we can take comfort only in the fact that his soul was well cleansed on its way to the hereafter. No. No. This concludes the final act of Erlock Sholm's Great Deduction. There's just one thing, Mr. Sholmes. You were disposed to identify in just one thing, aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Pray, what concerns you? Well, no matter how hungry he was, do you really think the man would have eaten soap? It is quite apparent that this man had barely a penny to his name. It is a curious thing, but to one so destitute, soap can suddenly appear quite irresistibly appetizing. How extraordinary. In truth, I have tried a little soap myself in the past. You've eaten it, you mean? My dear fellow, it was some time ago now. My postulation was that it would cleanse my gut. Postulation. And did it? As I writhed in agony on the floor and spilt the contents of my stomach, yes, I believe it did. Gumshoe is better. The experience taught me a valuable lesson. Soap is quite poisonous. It has an unpleasant taste and leads to great discomfort. In summary, I cannot recommend it. Believe me, I wouldn't eat it even if you did. There's something that troubles me as well, actually. Oh, what's that? It's Mr. Natsume. I couldn't help noticing him shuddering and quivering out of the corner of my eye. Almost as if Mr. Sholm's deduction touched a nerve somehow. He was fixing to yell, but then just quietly speaks nonsense. Well, that clenched teeth episode didn't last. I think, judging by Mr. Natsume's reaction, the great detective's deductions may need some gentle corrections in order to reach the actual truth. Yes, Mr. Sholm's observations and deductions are sometimes a little too sharp. He has a tendency to hit the nail on the side of the head and drive it at an obtuse angle. When he does that, it falls to us to straighten things out. Alright then, let's see what we can do. Yes, we must pick out the keywords in Mr. Sholm's quite brilliant deductions, and discreetly exchange them for something that makes a little more sense. If we can do that, I'm sure we'll arrive at what Mr. Sholm was meant to say in the first place. In that case, are you ready for the second performance of the day? Once again, my dear fellows, for your continued delight and wonder, let the curtain rise for Erlock Sholm's Logic and Reasoning Spectacular Act 1. Careful observation of the victim reveals to us the events that transpired in this disconsolate room last night. Foam at the mouth of the deceased clearly indicates the use of poison. Next to the victim, we notice a large dining plate which contains, you will observe, one half of a sizable bar of soap. Meaningful? Indubitably. Why is the soap yet set so purposefully upon the dish? Like the victim's last supper, in fact? Yes. Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course, the fork reveals the answer. Well, you can't deny that a fork implies the man was eating something or about to eat something. Yes, that's true. If I were to decide to eat some soap, I should prefer to use a fork than to attempt it with chopsticks. And of course, only half of the bar of soap is left on the plate. But might there not be some other explanation? Something material that proves whether or not the man really ate some soap? And yes, I'm aware it's the same start. It's basically how the game wants to refresh things in your mind. I suppose you'd eat soap with a fork, wouldn't you? I don't think it's a question of which implement you'd use. You shouldn't eat soap full stop. But then why? Why does a man have a fork in his hand? Oh dear. I understand your frustration, Mr. Naruto, but please don't take it out on me. The point is, if we decide the man used this fork to eat the soap, we wouldn't be changing Mr. Shulman's deductions. Kinda, sorta. So we really ought to consider some other clues. Do you think he was drinking tea with the soap? The cup's empty, so there's no way of knowing. Ah, how about this for an idea? Perhaps the cup was full of water, and he was dissolving soap in it so he could gulp as much down as possible. Please remember that he may not actually have been the soap lover that he has been made out to be. Look, there's more soap on the floor here. Mr. Shamspeare must really have loved this stuff. Let's not jump to conclusions, Mr. Naruto. Look closely at this soap. You see that it would fit together perfectly with that half bar on the table? What the? How can that be? I think that they are two halves of the same bar that broke apart.
Take that!
Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course, the other piece of soap reveals the answer. It being the other half of the soap on the table. In short, the victim was not eating soap at all. But it's obvious, really. You know, depths of hunger could drive any man to attempt to eat soap. Even I, with my unquenchable thirst for practical knowledge, took only a single bite. But that begs the question of how the man was poisoned, because there's no sign of any food on the table. An excellent observation, Mr. Naruto, and one that furnishes us with the answer we seek. For London's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the contents of the plate. Mr. Sholmes is still pushing the soap argument, then perhaps he's suggesting the man licked the soap rather than ate it. If soap in London is that poisonous, I don't think I want to be washing my hands with it. Yeah! But there are no signs of any food in this room at all. Of course, food isn't the only thing that passes people's lips, is it? Yes, a Western vessel for the serving of infusions of dried tea leaves. It's a teacup, Mr. Naruhodo, as you all know. Stop putting on airs. And it's empty. Ah, so we've already established that the victim wasn't eating soap when he died. However, there's significant evidence to suggest that he was drinking tea. My thoughts exactly. If the victim didn't eat the soap, then what did he eat? Yes, it's a real mystery, isn't it? Ah, I've got it. He wasn't interested in eating the soap at all. It was this fork he wanted to satisfy his hunger with. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo, I really don't think it's helpful to continue with this line of reasoning that the gentleman had peculiar tastes. Suzuto-san is such a gentle with words. I know when I've been told off.
Take that!
Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the teacup. Indeed, cups have been the vessel of choice for practicing poisoners over the centuries. And it would appear that this victim drank every last drop. There's no sign of food anywhere in the room. Which leads us to the immutable conclusion. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to the ingestion of poison contained in this teacup. The cause of death identified, we proceed to Act 2 where we ponder the next question. I literally just hydrated, so whoa, oh my lord. I'll hydrate again. Next question. Was it suicide or murder? The audience will recall that death occurred during the victim's last supper. Did the man dine and die alone? The single teacup suggests the answer. Ah, the Western vessel for infused hot drinks again. It's already featured heavily in our introduction so far. Yes, we can imagine that shortly before his death, Mr. Shamspeare was having a drink of tea. There would be nothing remarkable about that, but what troubles me is Mr. Natsume's reaction when he heard Mr. Sholmes suggest it. There's more to this deduction than it seems. We must closely examine the scene of the crime again for some more clues. It's another Western vessel for— It's a teacup! It's just a teacup. Shut the fuck up, Naruhodo. Stop putting on airs. Oh my god. And it too is empty. Given that he's actually holding this one in his hand, you can assume that this is the cup from which Mr. Shamspeare was actually drinking. But if that's the case, this changes everything. Everything we've deduced up to now is turned on its head. I have a bad feeling about this. I almost don't want to say it. Yes. I know exactly how you feel. So this is the obvious answer.
Take that!
Did the man dine and die alone? This other teacup suggests the answer. Yes, there were 2 teacups in this room all along. In other words, this is a strong indication that at the victim's Last Supper, there was a guest present. And I think I can guess who, judging by that silhouette. At the very least, we can say now with certainty that somebody else was here in this room last night, taking tea with the victim. What are you talking about? Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. To draw a conclusion on such meager evidence would be foolish, however, certainly. In which case, what more can we deduce about this possible guest at the table? Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. Do you mean to say you know exactly who was in this room at the time of the victim's death? Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the broken lock. I'm not sure I like where this deduction is going now. I'm afraid it's too late to go back to the halcyon days of eating too much soap. The identity of the guest who was in here last night when the victim passed away is something I have a very bad feeling about. Well, you can try to ignore your feelings, but we cannot ignore the truth, Mr. Naruhodo. No, I suppose not. Time to look around again. At first glance, it seems that the only things in this room are the makeshift stage and the costumes. I overlooked these 3 books initially. I wonder what they are. Let's see. The titles read... Picture of Monsieur the Coke, Canterbury Yearnings, and A Meal for Gabaroo. Wait, I'm sure I've heard those titles before. It could just be an incredible coincidence, but they're the exact same 3 books that Mr. Natsume purchased the other day. What? I will stretch the... Yes, on the day of the unfortunate incident when Miss Green was stabbed, Suzuki-san had just been to a bookshop and bought them. That's right. And now those 3 titles are here in the room of the victim. That Mr. Natsume claims never to have been here before. What does this mean, do you think? I really don't know what to make of it. Let's check this just to make double sure. It's empty. Empty of liquid, but full of air. That makes you think, doesn't it? It makes me think that you're full of hot air. You should be thinking about who else was in the room at the time. I'm sorry. Bother. Susato-san's quip in response was cleverer than my original riddle. Oh dear, the latch is most definitely broken, isn't it? The door was kicked in by Mr. Natsume, according to what Mr. Garadeb told the inspector. Who knew his short, thin little legs had so much strength in them? I'm not sure the length of his legs is in any way significant here. Perhaps it says more about the poor state of the door than about Mr. Natsume's strength, actually. Careful. If you overheard that remark, he'd almost certainly have a lively response. I don't know, can this broken lock really tell us anything about who was here? I am not cute and amazing, read! Even Mr. Shamspear didn't eat candles, it seems. We've already established that he didn't eat soap either. Ah, do you think perhaps the guest brought this candle here last night? Even if he or she did, does it reveal anything about the guest's identity? Good point. There goes my idea, snuffed out like the candle will be. If you sigh so deeply, Mr. Naruhodo, you're in danger of blowing out the flame. I love this game's jokes, they're actually so clever.
Take that!
Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is a pile of familiar books. Quite so, it's no mere coincidence that these 3 titles are here in this room. It's a link to the truth. Mr. Natsume, you purchased these books 4 days ago at a second-hand bookshop. That's just a coincidence. In that case, you will be able to bring the same 3 titles from your own room, will you not? This very moment. No, never, non-negotiable. If you can't bring your own copies here, it proves that these 3 books are in fact yours. Having purchased the book 4 days ago and returned to your lodgings, you were arrested the very next day. So you could conceivably have brought the books here on that evening, but you never mentioned that. In other words, you could only have brought these 3 books here to the victim's room. Last night, having returned to your lodgings after the trial concluded at the Old Bailey. In short, there's only one possible conclusion. the victim died here in this room last night as a result of poisoning. And that same night, the victim had a visitor. And that visitor was you, Mr. Sasuke Natsume. Thus concludes the final act of Erlach Sholm's great deduction. Not again, not again, not again. Not again. Well then, Mr. Natsume, it would appear you're gonna have to accompany me down to the yard. Again. But wait. Hold your horses. Yes? Door, key, locked, entry, exit, entirely impossible. He's so flustered he's been even stranger than normal. Wait, you think that's an alibi? You could have just made a copy. What? You live in the same building after all. You'd have had plenty of opportunity, I'm sure. But... misery me! Sorry, sir. You'll get your chance to give your side of the story later. The facts speak for themselves, Mr. Mustache. You heard what Erlach Sholmes? He really has found himself an arch rival now, hasn't he? Come on now, no dilly-dallying. Outside, there's a carriage waiting. Welcome, student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. I never imagined I'd be in this position again, but... you have to help me, please. I'm innocent. Alright, I understand. We'll come to your cell later and talk about it. And one more thing. Yes? My poor little kitty cat. Please give him his breakfast for me. Aww. And so... his evil curse still apparently unbroken, Sasuke-san found himself once again the prime suspect in a case of murder. Thanks to the incriminating deduction of the great detective. My dear fellow, that honor belongs to you. Well, at least that means Inspector Gregson is no longer here. We can examine the crime scene in more detail now. Yes, that's right. And of course... what? Have you forgotten what the inspector mentioned before? It was the landlord, Mr. Gyardeb, who discovered Mr. Shamspear. Ah, Mr. John Gyardeb, yes. I expect we could find him in his sitting room on the top floor as usual. Right, we must remember to go and talk to him later then. Oh, the poor man. So young to die. "31's not that young." Do you suppose it was a very painful death, being poisoned as he was? I don't know. All we can do now is hope that he'll be reborn into a better life. Yes, I suppose you're right. I wonder. Do you think that putting our hands together in a Japanese prayer will help a British soul? Sorry? I made sure I had a reference at the ready for just such an occasion as this, actually. This book is entitled The Beginner's Guide to Praying for the Departed the British Way. Either that or... he was reborn from William Shakespeare. I'll just reread it now. One moment. There is quite a spin in that book, isn't there? And here we have another disproportionately large machine. This looks like a meter of some kind. Ah, this is a gas meter, I think. It seems that in this district, residents pay for gas as they use it with coins. I see. Yes, now that you've pointed it out, I can see that there's a slot just here that looks like it would take a coin. So you mean if you put a coin in here... That's right. That would buy you about 2 hours of gas for lights and heating. Just 2 hours? So if you were a poor person with no money, you'd have to sleep in the freezing cold? Yes, or if you were a scatterbrain with no change because you forgot to exchange your money at the bank. Thank goodness there's no meter in our office. As we've seen from the outside, the window is completely bricked up. A vestige of the former window tax that Britons had to pay. What strange things they used to tax in Great Britain. I mean, making people pay for the number of windows they had in a property, it's extraordinary. It's heartbreaking to think of the poor people having to block up the windows just to avoid an unaffordable tax. It's silly to tax people off of windows. What is it, Mr. Sato? If you look closely, a number of the bricks are loose. Oh yes, it looks as though an amateur has broken out a few of them just here. Was it Mr. Shamspeare who did it, I wonder? Being the lodger renting this room? Ah, look at this, Mr. Naruhodo. On the outside there's a little ledge. And there's something on it. What, outside? It's so cold outside, you can feel it through this gap. It did snow all last night, it would be cold. But more importantly, what is it on the ledge out there? What are those snow-covered lumps? It's more bars of soap. Soap? What are bars of soap doing lined up on a ledge outside the window? It's nothing but soap. All of the bricks are made of soap. The walls are made of soap. The window is made of soap. The candle is made of soap. I'm willing to bet even Mr. Shamsphere is made of soap. Just look at the color of his hair. I have no idea. But the pair of them look rather charming like that. Still, that's very strange, isn't it? Or is this up lined up outside the window? I think perhaps we should take one. There are two after all. Oh dear. I suppose we could. Oh, what's this? Look here at this soap. Do you see, in the middle here? There's a patch that's a different color. It's sort of transparent, but... some sort of fancy design, I suppose. Only in Great Britain. It looks like the Hinamaru flag of Japan, doesn't it? How wonderful. It's probably a very expensive brand. Expensive? Then what's it doing in this ramshackle old room? A cheap bar of soap that was discovered just outside Mr. Shem's beer window. It's one of two that were found there. Look at these extravagant, bright costumes. Somehow they look out of place in this room with its grim, shady goings-on. This one looks like a king's attire. A king? I've always dreamt of being a king. Oh, I think you'd be more suited to a feudal lord. A daimyo or such like. With a Chanmage top knot, every Japanese man wishes he had a Chanmage. Oh, you'd look wonderful with one, and you already have the sword. Can you imagine what would happen if I walked around the streets of London with a Chanmage and a sword? This is apparently what the Chanmage is. It's a hairstyle. Or a ponytail. I had to look it up just to make sure. There's not much on these shelves, is there? Just this one glass and bottle. And both of them are cracked. Yes, not much use, are they? What's the matter? Oh, I was just reminded of the Reaper, that's all. Prosecutor Lord Von Zeeks? Yes. He's so reckless with his wine glasses. I was thinking it's a waste and that he should donate some to the needy. You can suggest it next time we meet. What's this? It looks like part of an envelope, I think. Yes, I think you may be right. Perhaps it was torn off and the letter was opened. Is that significant? Well, it's a little out of place, perhaps. When you look around the room, there's no sign of a letter or the rest of the envelope, in fact, is there? Ah, she's right. And yet here we have the tore off end of an envelope. Just strikes me as unusual. I agree, we'd better take this just in case. A ripped piece of an envelope that was found in Mr. Shemspier's room. The rest of the envelope could not be located. This is a gas wall light, isn't it? It must be connected to a gas pipe in the wall. Gas lights, a gas stove. London really is a city of gas. But now that I think about it, Mr. and Mrs. Garrett had an open fire on the top floor, didn't they? Oh yes, you're right. I don't recall seeing a gas stove up there. Well, I much prefer a real fire anyway, it's so much cozier. This is some sort of makeshift stage, I think, isn't it? Where does the audience sit, though, for the nightly Shakespeare performances? Shakespeare. So they acknowledge that Shakespeare is an actual thing in this universe. Okay. Actors aspiring to the great stage must practice their art, Mr. Naruto, with or without an audience. In fact, on a related note, perhaps you should set up a mock bench for the defense in your office. What? Then you could practice your art every single day. I'll think about it, if you promise to don a beard and play the role of the judge. Well, if that would help you achieve your goal, this I have to see. I'm tempted to do something. Would chat be willing to wait in order to see a shitpost? Okay. Give me a good while. No. Don't play a video. I just want the image. Alright, I'll just save it like this then, I guess. What? What'd I do? No, I'm not cute. Read. Oh. I did not mean to boot up VR chat. Why do I always do that instead of Clip Studio Paint? I'm cringe. Okay, so we're going to do a very quick, hopefully quick, shitpost. Erasing sender. What Pokemon is a Cinder? Where did I put that image? Oh, here it is. Silly me. No! This isn't an art stream either. You know what? Would chat like to see exactly what I'm doing, or would chat like to wait for it to be done? Okay, alright. Then I will... Because I'm so smart. Let me just quickly... Shit. I didn't want to do that. I have to not touch the beard at all. Or the glasses, or the eyebrows. The glasses, debatably. I don't think they're as important. Yes, Raven? Re. I'm not doing art, I'm doing a shit post. Because the game put a very interesting image in my head, and I want to see how it actually looks. want it to not be blotchy or ugly, though. So I'm trying to be careful. Ree! Thank you for the sub, Astra. You didn't have to, Ree, but thank you. Oops. And to be a lot more careful, because I already feel my hand cramping. Nah, I want to get this shitpost over and done with so I can get to the next save point of the game. I'm stubborn, I can deal with it. Okay, now if I use the lasso tool and select all of this carefully. And then invert to cut everything else out. Save this as an image. Go to OBS. Post an image. Oh no, it doesn't save the transparency. Oh no. Wait, no. I know why. I'm silly. I didn't save it as a PNG is the issue. PNGs are better overall anyway. No, I am not. Why you lie? It's not perfect, but it'll do good enough. Okay, so now if I move display capture monitor 2 all the way back to the bottom, I go into the game. What was the one? Right. It actually works. Oh my fucking god, it actually works. Alright, Raven, sleep well. It actually works though. Oh my god, it actually looks good. We did it, chat. We've made yet another shitpost. Oh my god. Only took about 20 minutes to do. Embrace the power of memes, chat. Oh wait, no, I still need my tablet on. Because it acts as my second monitor. Until I can actually get another monitor. Okay. So, it looks like we examined everything, if this is it. Yep. Oh boy. I never saved it as an actual image, so I'm not sure. You know what? I might actually call it for now. I'm actually low on sleep. I've been streaming for 3 hours. I'm actually kind of tired. And I have to get used to reading out every single voice line for this game again. But... I know who I'm... there are multiple people I want to raid. I raided Seal recently. You know what? I know who I'll raid. No, I'm not gonna read myself. Read. Thank you though, Alice. And thank you as well, Astra. I'll try to stream again tomorrow. Not sure what I'll do tomorrow, but I'll figure it out. So we're gonna go on ahead and raid Foxcott. If you want to see various art that I make, memes that I make, or video game clips that I post, I have a Twitter. I also have a Discord server that everyone above the age of 18 is free to join. You don't have to, Alice. But I appreciate it. But I'm gonna end the stream by reading Foxcott. Thank you all for joining me tonight, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.